Hi, I'm Brian Euler with Pioneer Builders. Welcome to another episode of The Build Show. This is part 2 in the Quilt mini split series. In the first part, I talked about the rough-in and the things that we had to think about. I walked through some of the equipment before it was installed. Now in this video, we actually have the heat pump operational, the indoor units have been running. This has all been commissioned for about a week, either in heating or cooling. I'm going to take you through what it took during the installation process of this phase so that you know what you're doing when it comes to the installation. Let's get into it.
Come see Brian Euler at Build Show Live. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description for tickets. Use code Brian26 for 25% off.
The approach that we're going to take is to take you through basically chronologically for the different steps that have to take place. While it is a sequential series of steps, some of the items can be done concurrently. Now, one thing that I like to do is have the mechanical contractor and the electrical installer all on site at the same time. Some of this is what the mechanical contractor does, but then the points of connection are to be done from the electrician, and then there's overlap in terms of timing. Let's start with the mechanical contractor. From the outside, we typically use a pad like this. You can also typically mount heat pumps off of a building, but really that depends on grade and even the architectural design. Then we also use these standoffs, and that just, if we ever have snow, things like that, in this area we can get some. It just gives some nice clearance for the heat pump. Then what the mechanical installer does is he actually has a compressor, different components. He'll connect some of it up to the heat pump, and what he's essentially going to be doing is pressurizing the system just to make sure that there's no leaks. Now, in a different system, what we did discover one time is there was a valve that had been left open on an indoor unit, and so that's why you want to test things. Think of it like this. If you're a builder or a plumber, you always test your drain waste vent system. You always test your water supplies just to make sure that there's no leaks. It's the same thing because you're going to have your refrigerant lines and you do not want to have any leaks. So he tests that, then he does a vacuum on it, and then he opens up the refrigerant to actually charge the system. In this case, there were no issues whatsoever, so he was able to charge it. On the side here, there's some different things when it comes to the refrigerant. In this particular case, this has R32 refrigerant, and if you look at the panel on the side, there's a certain amount of charge that it has. You can also look in their instruction manual. Essentially what you need to know is the liquid line and the vapor line, the total length of line. There's more that gets into it. I won't get into all of those technical details, but sometimes you have to add refrigerant, and that's something to know. Your mechanical contractor should know all of that, but I always like knowing all the ins and outs. Let's go ahead and go inside. I'm going to show you the head from the inside and then behind it and talk about some of the things there. Well, as I said, a lot of the work can be done concurrently. So from the inside, you could have one of your technicians focusing on the indoor heads. The first step that they would take is to actually put the mounting bracket on the wall. You might remember we left a little hole so that we knew where our refrigerant lines were. So you put the mounting bracket on. This will just show you what's going on inside a little bit. Then you'll have probably a couple of folks working together to actually put the head onto the mounting bracket and be able to run your condensation line and your refrigerant lines through the wall into that little mechanical access panel location that we have. Once that's on, this is why it's so nice to have an electrician on site at the same time. Unless the mechanical contractor is licensed for it, they may not be able to be licensed to make the points of connection. So underneath this panel, you'll now take your cabling, run it up through here, and he can make his points of connection. We'll end up going back outside, but that runs out to the outdoor unit. So once that's done, you're pretty much done with this side of the wall. But remember, we're installing this on an interior wall instead of an exterior wall. So let's go into the primary closet and I'll show you what that looks like in there. We're in the primary closet now, and here's our access panel. So one thing that we do, we cut out the drywall, and then the finish carpenter, this is how everybody works together as a team, actually trims it out. This is going to end up being painted the flat wall color, which is accessible beige from Sherwin-Williams, in case you're curious about that. Now you can see our cleats that we have for the shelving. All of this was planned ahead. On the other side of this wall, that's where I was just standing. So that's where the mini split head is. And the hole here is where the refrigerant lines are coming up into it. You can see the condensation drain is coming out of it. All of these points of connection were made at that head. And then here's your cabling that comes in that I also talked about the electrician making his points of connection. So earlier in the video, I did talk about the pressure testing, the vacuuming. Obviously, you're going to want to have everything connected up in order to be able to accomplish that. Let's go back outside, and I'm going to show you the electrical side. Now we're back outside. We're going to talk about those electrical points of connection. That black cabling that you saw inside, that's being run through this gray conduit. Now, in the future, my suggestion to you is don't run that in the same hole as your refrigerant lines. Try to keep that separate. It's going to make your air sealing better. All the way around, it's also a cleaner job. But you'll see that there's also this other gray conduit coming into that disconnect. That's actually what's supplying the line voltage power from the main panel all the way up to this unit. So now you can begin to see, yes, the mechanical contractor could have done his pressure testing, done all of his points of connection, but then the electrician would come in, make his points of connection, and honestly, it just works so much better to be able to turn on the system and be able to troubleshoot right then and there if there's any issues at all. As it turns out, in this case, there wasn't. Let me run you back inside and I'll show you something else. Now let's say you have everything commissioned, all of your electrical points of connection are on, you are very happy. Now something that you'll see that happens, I already have this set up with a network, but before that happens, you'll actually have a light running back and forth here, and that's showing that it's looking for connectivity. So just be prepared for that. We have had installed in our houses an innumerable amount of indoor heads on our houses. We are very familiar with using remote controls to be able to operate them. You'll get a remote control with your Quilt system, but that is not really how it's designed to function optimally. This is more just for setting things, especially during construction, but there is a much better way to control it. So you can do things when it comes to the light, as you can see there, setting it to heating, cooling, the fan, all of those types of things. That's what this is for. You might notice behind me though that I have the Quilt dial, and the other thing that I have on this site is a mobile hotspot. So we were actually able to connect everything up. That's why we have such good control of this system. The other thing that we have is this cover panel here. And if you notice over here, we have hardwood that's going to be going in. So in part 3, I'm going to talk more about the actual controls of this device and what sets this off from any other mini split technology that we've ever used, and honestly, any other mini split technology than I've ever seen. One thing that I always do in my houses is I set up in the crawl space a humidity and temperature sensor, which relays to this, which will also keep track of the temperature and humidity on this level. And then I do the same thing upstairs and in the attic. So I mentioned at the beginning, we had this operational for just about a week now. We've had some high highs, and it's actually gotten pretty cool here in the Pacific Northwest. As of right now, in this great room, we're at 68 degrees Fahrenheit and 58% relative humidity. I've been trying to control that before having this hardwood installed. Then down in the crawl space, we're at 68 degrees dry bulb and 59% relative humidity. It's a sealed crawl space. Both of these are living exactly the same. So that is pretty cool, and it's nice to be able to have these highly efficient units. And I'll get into the actual energy usage in the next video. So again, in the next video, we'll have the house completed, and I'll have been able to gain even more experience with my first time utilizing the Quilt system. So what did we cover in this video? The commissioning of the system is most efficient if you can have your mechanical contractor and electrician on site at the same time. Something that I did to make their lives as efficient as I could was actually have my light fixtures on site and get everything dialed in so the electrician could be doing a lot of other things instead of just waiting around for a super long time for a couple of tasks that ultimately don't take very long for your electrician to be able to accomplish. In my schedule, I allowed for 1 day to be able to accomplish all this, and I just stayed around. Even though I'm the general contractor, I was kind of the coordinator or facilitator amongst those different trades, and it worked out beautifully. At the end of the day, I had a house that was fully commissioned, heating and cooling, and you can see the end results. Lots of cool things in here. I can't wait for part 3, where I've actually been able to operate the house. We'll probably get into fall, possibly even into winter, to where I'll really gain better experience that I can share with you to make your experience work even better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Now go build something.